Welcome to new Team CGC 9.8 video. So today's our CGC 9.8 pricing and completed sales video, where I just do a little research this morning on eBay and check out all the great key issues in the CGC 9.8 that are selling, and just talk about kind of the CGC 9.8 comic book market in general. But one of the best things you can do if you're actively buying CGC 9.8 comic books like me is to just know the fair price for your book, and more information on these prices here helps with that, certainly, because there's always someone on eBay trying to get those really high prices over fair market value for CGC 9.8 books. So we will get into a full list here, and I got some books from the team as well, which is great. So I had a great conversation with my friend Stevie George from SCG Show YouTube channel. And our podcast, our conversation kind of aired, or premiered, I guess it was, last night at 9 p.m. So, we talked about a lot of kind of wide-ranging topics, a little bit of comic book investing, saving and investing, kind of life lessons, and some COVID talk too, just talking about how we're all dealing with that. So, yeah, that podcast premiered last night. I'll have a couple links in the description below, but definitely check out the podcast and check out SCG Show's YouTube channel as well. They've got a really wide variety of topics and kind of a self-improvement type of channel, which I really love. So definitely go check out SCG Show. All the links in the description below for that one. But let's get right into our full list of CGC 9.8 key issues that sold just in the last little bit, and I'll get right into the team books. So if you do see any completed listings out there, or you buy a CGC 9.8 yourself, you can send me those completed listings on Instagram. And definitely add me on Instagram. The link's in the description too. And this is how, all the team got to me a couple books off of Instagram. So Alamo City Collectibles on Instagram let me know that he had grabbed a Marvel Age number 90. This is that Todd McFarlane cover, and it's like a preview of Spider-Man number 1 by Todd McFarlane. So a really cool Spider-Man McFarlane cover. Very well collected book. Marvel Age 90. Still kind of underfollowed, but for McFarlane fans, it's kind of a really cool underfollowed one to get. And he grabbed it for $223. Yeah, US dollars too. All the prices here we'll talk. $223. And I've saw some go for right around that price, and I think if you were extra patient on this and got really lucky, you might get it just under $200, but I think that's a fair price for this pretty rare book. I believe there's like less than 50 on the census for Marvel Age 90 in the CGC 9.8. So really cool. If you're a McFarlane Spider-Man fan, I really prefer this book over like Spider-Man 1. Where there's just tons of those, and there's a lot of, this is just a kind of a more savvy version of that, I think. So Alamo City Collectibles, really good buy there. Key Hunter Keith got to me on Instagram, let me know he bought a couple books. There was the Web of Spider-Man book, the first Scarlet Spider-Man. Oh, I didn't even write down the issue number for that. So it's a Web of Spider-Man book. I think it was like 1 something. I forgot to write down the issue number. First Scarlet Spider, classic Spider-Man book. He had purchased one for $140. And I think that's right around the fair price for this book. If you were really patient in an auction, I think you see this one sometimes go for about $110 kind of price. So this is still a fair price though if you kind of want it now in a new case, which this one was. Web of Spider-Man, first Scarlet Spidey. Sorry, I didn't write down the issue number. You'll have to look that up. But it is a really classic, cool cover, early 90s Web of Spider-Man issue, first Scarlet Spider-Man. He also bought a Green Lantern 20. So this is a really cool, affordable, new DC kind of first appearance. You get the first cameo of Jessica Cruz, who's kind of the Lady Green Lantern. She gets the kind of one, I think the first lady to get the Green Lantern ring. Really cool cover, affordable. He grabbed it for $59.99. So I think that's, and he mentioned on this one shipped, so that's pretty much like $50 for me. And I saw this in auctions go over $50, so I think that's a really good price for it. Green Lantern 20, first Jessica Cruz cameo. Also, Jody Walters messaged me on Instagram, and he got maybe a little bit lucky, but just a good kind of situation to look at here. So I think he heard that Mr. Sinister was going to be in the MCU, and he kind of acted really quick. and grabbed Uncanny X-Men 221 for $215. And I had mentioned, I think it was on our last price video, or maybe in a video that we did, one of the last ones or two, where this book in auctions now is like $275 to $300, whereas, you know, it seemed that he was so early and so quick that he was able to grab this one at $215, before it sort of eventually in the next day or two or three really just ended up going up to about $275 to $300. Most of them are going for, sort of just after this Mr. Sinister being the new villain in the MCU, kind of a confirmed announcement, I think it was. So, good price, yeah, $215. I think if, you know, maybe you're patient here and there's some lulls in this book, that would be a really good price to target. But I think most of them might go over $250 for a while now with this whole Mr. Sinister being in the MCU. Yeah, people are getting really excited about that. Last one here by the team was Steve G. He messaged me. He grabbed it. It was just maybe about a week ago now. Batman 423 signed by Todd McFarlane. So yeah, I got my blue label out, and I brought out my newsstand raw too, because a Batman 423 newsstand in the 9.8 sold too. But he grabbed a Batman 423 signed by McFarlane for $750. And we sort of documented on our video. One went for $650 in the blue label last week, it was, or something like that. So that I thought was a little bit of an elevated price. I think you kind of want to pay sort of at least, you know, around the $550 mark for this book in the blue label. And then there's still deals to be had, as we'll see in the next book. So, you know, $750 for Batman 423, I think long term is going to be a great book. And I mean, it's one I kind of want, to be honest. So, next book here is not a team book. So, if you do have any completed listings, message me on Instagram for CGC 9.8 books. I'll try to include them on the video here. So, a Batman 423 newsstand, CGC 9.8 sold. And it sold for $420. Yeah, so there was it was a really quick one. It kind of came up and was bought almost instantly. Yeah, it was posted up in the morning. I believe it was 2 or 3 days ago. Pretty much instantly purchased. Interesting to have a buy it now priced at $420 on this book, because a blue label had went for $650. That was not a newsstand. So this is the rare newsstand. I'm not sure if maybe the seller was just not on top of how hot this book has gotten in the last 3 years. Like maybe they bought it 6-7 years ago for a lot less, and now, you know, that this book is pretty hot right now. And I think $420 for a Batman 423 newsstand in the 9.8 though, graded. I got a decent one here. It's probably about a 9.4. Yeah, this is a really nice one. One of my more prized raw books, to be honest, but wow, I just wish I saw this, and I would have insta-bought it, to be honest, if it had great shipping to Canada. And we actually had a team member who had, you know, told me about this listing pretty much, and he had just missed out on kind of a heartbreaking miss out buy, where he was looking at it, and then pretty much he went to buy it now kind of thing, and it said it already sold. So he just missed out on it. This is a great price for this book, though. Yeah, I mean, with one going for $650 in the direct, I'm used to this book more going for around $400 in sort of normal non-stimulus check environment. So for a newsstand version, which is even more rare, to go for $420, just a great price, a great book to have in the CGC 9.8. That's super rare. There's only 98 of the 9.8s of this one here, so I would guess there's probably only about 10 of these in the Batman 423 newsstand CGC 9.8. So yeah, such a great book to get there for $420. And that's kind of the price I think you should keep in mind if you want a Batman 423 CGC 9.8. Like, hopefully things cool down here, and you can look for auctions and sort of get it around that $420 price. So Batman Beyond #1 saw one of these sell, and it went for $705. And yeah, well, I mean, we sort of mentioned that most of these were going over $600. And maybe that range is going to be like $600 to, you know, people paying up to near $700 for, yeah, Batman Beyond #1. I got 2 of these in the CGC 9.8, and I grabbed mine for like $400 to $450. And I mean, even then I felt like I was paying up for them and overpaying back then. So this book's come a long way, but it's just one I love, the modern age CGC 9.8 Batman Beyond #1. Star Wars 42, I saw sell in an auction, and this is a really hot book of the moment, to be honest. Yeah, Probably not the best time to be buying a Star Wars 42, considering the prices they went for like 6 to 12 months ago. I do have one of these, and yeah, I bought mine for a lot less too. So a Star Wars 42 went for $781 in an auction, and obviously Boba Fett maybe being a Mandalorian too, or I think he's gonna be. And this also has first appearance of Yoda, with Baby Yoda kind of heating up too. So this is a really hot book, $781 US. I used to see auctions here when this book was really cold for like $375, $360, $375. Maybe pushing up to $400 for just the nicest looking one in an auction. So if one to go to set for $781, like this is just a great book, but you know, maybe you want to be patient here, and you know, I could just imagine a year or two after season 2 Mandalorian, this book will probably be down to like $400, $450 again. So $781, I wouldn't really look to pay that. An Uncanny X-Men 158 sold in an auction. So this is the first Rogue in the X-Men title, in this Uncanny X-Men title. So a really early appearance of Rogue, and kind of a cool Rogue cover. And yeah, pretty kind of underfall of good, kind of minor key, I guess you could call it. Went for $152.50 in an auction. Yeah, Uncanny X-Men 158. Also saw an Iron Man number 170. This is a pretty cool book, actually, because, yeah, I think Iron Man, like, there's not really a lot of really cool key issues in the 80s, I think, to think about with Iron Man. But this is one of them, and Iron Man 170 is the first James Rhodes as Iron Man. And this one went for $150 even in an auction, too. So that's, I think, going to be a pretty good price for this book. New case. Yeah, it's kind of James Rhodes putting on the Iron Man helmet on the cover. It's a pretty cool cover, too. And I think for $150, kind of a pretty cool Iron Man key issue to get for $150. And I don't have any Iron Man books, and I've always sort of, you know, there's this one, and then there's like the first appearance of War Machine with a really cool cover. Like those two kind of stick in mind for maybe some Iron Man books that I could look at grabbing in the next little bit. So I saw a couple X Factor 24s sell. First appearance of Archangel, and one went for $155 and one went for $175. So these seem a little elevated to me, to be honest. I'm not sure what's going on with this issue. First Archangel, I know he's been in like sort of past X-Men movies, so even if he was sort of rumored to be in some of these new X-Men movies, because yeah, I just remember auctions, sometimes if you're patient on this one, you get it for like $110. I think even, I remember like maybe even under $100 for this sometimes if you're just, you know, really patient. But, you know, $110, $120 would be really fair, whereas $155, $175 I think is upper end of the range. So, yeah, X Factor 24 though, first Archangel, kind of a cool key issue to consider. Next one too, I really like. It's Spider-Man number 13. So it's the Spider-Man number 1 cover homage in the sort of black costume Spidey, done by Todd McFarlane. So a really cool cover, and to be honest, yeah, this Spider-Man 13 and the Marvel Age 90, the first book we talked about, I really prefer these two books over like Spider-Man number 1, just because there's so many Spider-Man number 1s, and then there's like the normal versions, and there's so many like rarer versions. But I just kind of like these other underfollowed versions, and for me, yeah, Spider-Man number 1, I think I just got bored of as a kid. Like, you just saw them everywhere, and you still see them everywhere, and even in long boxes at local comic shops, there's just countless, you know, copies of them. So I think, yeah, Spider-Man number 13 with the Spider-Man 1 homage, and, you know, maybe a bit tougher to find. One sold for $90. Which is, I think, a fair price, but even this one, I think if you're patient, you get it in the sort of 70 to 80 range. So yeah, one that's cheap and an alternative to Spider-Man 1 that I actually prefer. Uncanny X-Men 114 is the next book that sold. This is one of my favorite Uncanny X-Men books out of this whole run. It's the first time Uncanny is on the cover ever. And yeah, for me, I just always really liked X-Men comics with the Uncanny X-Men. Like, for me as a kid, that was just... And they always had really colorful covers, so I was always a big X-Men fan growing up. Always loved the covers, and to get the first book with the first Uncanny on the cover, for me, would just be really cool. So this is always one I've sort of watched, and it's usually really expensive in the CGC 9.8, because the 9.8 ratio is really low on this, too. Yeah, another cool thing about this book is it's rare in the 9.8. But one went for, in off-white to white pages, so not a white pages, for $650. And I think that's a really good price. Like, if I had saw this and it was in white pages and it was $650 to $700 and with good shipping in Canada, I really would have had to consider to buy it because I just think it's a really good one. It's rare in the 9.8. This one, off-white to white pages in an old case. So I think this is a really good lower end idea of the price range. But, you know, maybe in a new case, I think a good price for this would be probably $750 in white pages. In a new case, $750, maybe $800. And I've seen them sort of buy it nows, and they were listed at like $999, like it was like $1,000 basically, where most people in sort of a buy it now type of listing are looking to get. Yeah, great Uncanny X-Men book there. Next one is a modern key that I think maybe some people are speculating on a little bit, but pretty cool cover though. Amazing Spider-Man number 4, and I got the variant and the normal first print that sold. It's Cindy Moon becomes Silk in this issue, Amazing Spider-Man number 4. And the first print, I saw one sell for $149.77, and then I saw one sell for $175. And I think, yeah, with this book, that's sort of $140 to $150 is the fair, and then $175 to $200 being the higher end of the range. And you do occasionally see some selling that. I think kind of maybe some people kind of speculating on a modern book. But the variant version, so more rare variant with pretty cool cover, I saw one of those sell for $309.99. Yeah, this is Amazing Spider-Man number 4. Cindy Moon becomes Silk. So kind of a pretty cool modern key issue that I'm not too into, but I do kind of like the covers of both of these, actually. Yeah, they got pretty interesting covers. So certainly if you're into them, you can kind of look at those price ranges. I saw Omega Men number 3, first Lobo sell. So yeah, this is a book where, you know, occasionally you'll see deals kind of coming in around the $150 to $160. One sold for $195 here in my research. So I think that's the price range on it, and there are a lot of these on the census for kind of a DC book. It's a really popular DC book, not very rare in the CGC 9.8. So I'd actually be patient on this one and look to get it near 150-ish, 160-ish. Also saw Batman 89, so yeah, kind of a book of the moment too, and you know, this is a book that I've pretty much from the beginning was like, just relax here, be patient. If you want in the 9.8, like wait 6 months. That was my sort of mantra for this book. And I mean, Batman 89, we're probably about 4 to 6 months later, let's call it. See, I saw one in an auction, a first print go for $97, and one go for $104.50. And like right mid-height, this book was like $169.99 in auctions, or $172. Like, that was the sort of auction price. And I'm like, for a modern book with, you know, a first appearance that, you know, doesn't really excite me too much in any way. I mean, it is a first appearance, but usually those modern books end up going, you know, they end up getting down to rate of around $100. Yeah, and then for a really long time, unless the first appearance doesn't heat up, they'll kind of, you know, if someone wants it right now, someone will buy them for $110. But if an auction comes up and you're patient, you can maybe even get them for like $80. And I think that's how this book's going to go. And you're already seeing that, you know, an auction went for $97. So certainly, you know, you're patient. Instead of paying $175 4 months ago, now you're paying $97. And that's kind of the gist of a lot of what we talk about here. An underfollowed one here that I haven't saw in a really long time. A Batman 39, New 52. So the kind of new run of Batman that started there. Batman number 39, this one. This is the Andy Kubert variant, so a really cool Joker variant. And there's a lot of other Joker variants by Andy Kubert, sort of around, like, this is Batman 39, I think it's like 38, and there's like the Endgame storyline that he has some variants for. And in the CGC 9.8, I saw this variant go for $42. And, you know, if you're a big Joker fan and you maybe want some cheap underfollowed Joker covers, like, these New 52 Kubert variants are really awesome. And even the first print Capullo covers, some of them are really great too. And $42 for this one, I think that's, you know, this is one that you get for dirt cheap. Like, they're just not hot at all, and really cool covers though, and maybe you can look to get them from like anywhere from sort of $35 to $45 in the CGC 9.8. And yeah, or, you know, maybe if it was a nice new case. This one, I believe, was an old case. You can think about paying up to $50. But some cheap ones that might be worth looking into. Yeah, it's from the Batman New 52. This one, number 39, went for $42. The Andy Kubert Joker variant. So Amazing Spider-Man 265, first Silver Sable, saw one sell, and looking pretty good too. I was liking the colors on this one and centering. In an auction, went for $208.50. And yeah, you see sort of a lot of these kind of dipping down below 200 sometimes if maybe they don't have the right centering. So kind of makes sense that this went over a little bit over. But that is right around the fair price for Amazing Spider-Man 265. Spawn 300, I saw one sell in an auction, and yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man 300 cover homage version. Cool, the first print too. Yeah, kind of a cool modern Spawn book to have, certainly if you're a big McFarlane fan and sort of a fan of his Spider-Man run in the 80s. This one went for $73 in an auction. Yeah, so kind of a modern book that's pretty cool that you can get for pretty cheap in a nice new case, CGC 9.8 for $73. I saw Punisher War Journal number 6. Yeah, Jim Lee Wolverine cover. Yeah, this will I believe Jim Lee's going to do a signature signing kind of thing coming up here, maybe after the Frank Miller one. So this is just a cool cover, though. I've thought a couple times I'm thinking of buying this, but one went Punisher War Journal number 6 for $95. And yeah, I think sort of the 85 to 95. Maybe if you get the best deal, you might get it for like 79, something like that, in an auction for this book. But yeah, this is one I've considered buying in the past. Really cool Jim Lee Wolverine cover, Punisher War Journal number 6 for $95. I saw Venom number 3 third print sell. Yeah, so kind of a hot book of the moment, and yeah, one that I've sort of admittedly kind of missed the ball on, and I'd made a video like recommending that I wanted to buy it and stuff like that, and pretty much shortly after that video, tons of YouTube channels made videos of it, and just kind of became a big thing. But I saw one sell in the last couple days here for $325. So Venom 3 third print, $325, still hot. Yeah, you know what? I think this book's kind of destined in 6 to 8 months or a year to sort of be around that $200 mark. So for one going for $325, I'd be patient on that one. But a cool book. Yeah, it's like I want it. So interesting book here. Wolverine Limited Series, number 1. I saw one sell for $329.77 it was. And, to see, 2-3 weeks ago, a lot of these were sort of going for that $350, and even a lot went for $400, which really kind of surprised me. And it was one I said, I don't think you want to grab it around $400. It's not very rare in the 9.8. There's a lot of them out there. Then maybe already right now, yeah, a couple, coming through at $329. Yeah, closer to $300. This makes sense. And I bought mine at $276, like 6 months to a year ago. So this might be one to just be patient on and look to grab it around $300. Because yeah, maybe already a bit of a softness in the price. Because it's just heating up off the back of that Frank Miller CGC signing event kind of promotion. So $329.77, kind of a definitely a better price than paying $400, which I wouldn't recommend. Next book is a Star Wars 107. This is the last issue. Yeah, pretty collectible. And I did sort of thought in the past, there was a couple auctions that popped up that were looking really nice, and I've actually thought of buying this one, but just sort of, held off. But with Star Wars 42 really heating up, because these used to sort of be hand in hand in price almost, of Star Wars 42 and this last issue, which is pretty rare in the 9.8. But the last issue went for $370. And obviously we talked about that Star Wars 42 going for $781. So this one is starting to look more affordable, whereas it was like almost the same price as Star Wars 42 back then. And I ended up buying a Star Wars 42, and I kind of never looked back and never really went after this book. But maybe looking a little more attractive, and yeah, if you're a big Star Wars fan, it's one to consider. Star Wars 107, the last issue. And last book here is New Mutants 9.8 I saw sold, and it was one in an old case, so I got mine in a new case here. One in an old case, CGC 9.8, pretty full retail price, I think, for an old case one, but it went for $798. New Mutants 98 in an old case. And yeah, this book really, from those lulls, has really sort of bounced back, I would say, from, for a while there. I remember almost buying one, and it ended up going for like $620 in an auction. almost buying another one, and that was like kind of around Christmas area, I would say. And CGC 9.8s were in a bit of a lull then, I thought. And to see most of these that we did on our pricing video a couple weeks ago, where some had sold for over $900 US, so $800 for $798, $800 we'll call it, for one in an old case. I think shows that this issue's firming up. Like, I think, if you got lucky there and you grabbed this one for $620, I think that's going to be probably rock bottom for quite a while. And this book, New Mutants 98, First Deadpool, does really have a great chance to kind of slowly just keep going up over time. Yeah, so that could be the bottom for quite a bit. That sort of $600 area, where I didn't see them very long go for around that area. It was almost just a month there, and then they kind of shot back up to where it was really hard to get it under $7. But there's still a lot out there on the census. That's the thing about New Mutants 98. You're really on top of your searches and everything. Still might be able to get a direct for $650, but a direct edition in an old case going for $800 in my research this morning. All right, that'll be all for the video today. Yeah, a lot of great key issues to get through, and maybe even it's tough to say. I feel like obviously the CGC 9.8 comic book market is really hot right now with stimulus checks and the coronavirus thing. Maybe some evidence that it's starting to just cool off and take a breather here with, maybe Wolverine Limited Series coming back closer to 300. But, there's still some hot books out there. That Batman 423 selling for 420 when, 2 weeks ago one sold for 650. That's sort of looking more normal. Maybe the market taking, I think, a well-needed breath, because, it's really been really hot, and we could use a bit of a lull, I think. If you haven't already, I'd invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8. Would love to have you on our comic book collecting and comic book investing team. And hit the bell to get all the latest notifications. Add me on Instagram and Twitter as well. But these videos are all about getting a little more information on some of the current market prices. And I know you do this a couple weeks and you get some good information, and now we've done it for maybe 8 to 10 months on the channel here, and you get a really good idea of all, especially if you're focused in on the 80s and 90s, you kind of know all the key issues. Now I pretty much know all the key issues and their fair market values, like most of the main ones. So really helpful exercise, so you just never overpay. Save you a little bit of money, right? So thanks so much for watching. Message me on Instagram if you have any questions about whatever it might be. But thanks so much for the support, and I'll see everyone on the next video.